This video is sponsored by Dell and Intel. So it's pretty crazy to think that we are into the holiday season, usually around the time where I give my recommendations on pieces of tech. So this is a laptop that a lot of people have asked about. This is the new Dell 14 Premium. If you are looking for a laptop, like it's pretty simple here to break down. You want something that's reliable, you want something that performs. Obviously, like all day battery life is in there, and you just want something that works, doesn't give you any sort of headaches. You gotta check this one out here. So if you remember the Dell XPS line, that's now been refreshed to Dell Premium, just to make that naming scheme a bit easier, and older product lines like Dell Inspiron, Dell Latitude, for example, those have more simple names. Once again, just to make it easier for you guys, I know that there's a lot of different specs, and then within those, there are different spec variations depending on what you're gonna use your device for, and I think this one is truly the sweet spot. So this is the Intel Core Ultra 7. It's got Intel Arc graphics, 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of storage, but most importantly, it's got this gorgeous 3.2K OLED screen. It's also fully touchscreen. It's got super thin bezels, and with all OLED panels, it is just really nice to look at. So no matter what you're doing on your device, whether you use it a lot for content consumption, whether you're using it just like daily as a regular laptop, you're writing out emails, you're typing out essays, you are just being productive, everything looks good on the screen. But let's talk a bit about the design of the laptop first. So once again, if you've seen the Dell XPS line, you know how good this laptop actually looks. That has still remained the same. The chassis is unibody, completely made out of aluminum. It feels super premium. And if you haven't had the chance to check out one of these laptops before, look at the inside. Looks very different than most. So the first thing that you'll notice is this bar at the bottom. That is one piece of continuous glass with a trackpad built in. It's Gorilla Glass 3, so even like the palm rest area when you are typing, once again, you have that same premium feel. Everything is completely flush. The keyboard blends into the entire body, but still has a decent amount of travel on it. So even when you are like typing all day, it still feels really comfortable, and you do have capacitive buttons up top to complete, like I said, that very sleek look. You've got two speakers on the sides, which they do get very loud. And lastly, you've got the little on and off button / fingerprint scanner on the top right. Like I mentioned, capacitive buttons up top that obviously change with functionality. And overall, one of the cleanest and probably best designed Windows laptops that I've seen to date. If you want like something very, very premium, probably hence why they named it that. This fits the bill. It isn't cheap. It even has like some really nice heft to it. And you know, when you use a laptop, one of the things that you always notice is some like weird creaking, some weird like bending on the plastics. Once again, you get zero of that here. The build on this, I would say, is class leading, one of the best in the market. The next thing, which is super important when you use your laptop daily, is the hinge mechanism. Once again, following that same premium design, it feels super smooth. There's no weird wiggle or wobble. It stops perfectly in place when you need it to. Once again, has that really nice heft to it. Port-wise, minimal, but it still has everything you need. So you technically have 3 Thunderbolt 4s. You've got 2 on the one side, 1 on the other, as well as a micro SD card and headphone jack. And if you want some extra ports, there's also this dongle that you can get as an add-on accessory. You get HDMI 2.1 and USB-A, and it also comes with this little built-in wire that kind of bends into the unit, so you don't have to worry about carrying around an extra one. But overall, in a very, still relatively thin form factor, so this is 0.71 inches, and it comes in at only 3.79 pounds. And I think it's that trade-off there for having those premium materials. It's something that never feels like it's gonna break on you or is just being too flimsy. But that is the overall design. And like I said, the big winner here is the OLED panel. So when you spec this out, you can technically grab it with an IPS panel. If you can afford it, 100% go with the OLED. Like I said, content on OLEDs just look better. You get those really dark and deep contrast ratios. Everything looks a bit more vibrant. It's got a really high pixel density, 220 ppi in only a 14.5 inch screen. So everything looks super, super crisp. It covers 100% of the DCI-P3 color space. Essentially, if you do anything with color, if you're doing photo editing, if you're doing any video work like what I do, it looks, once again, really crisp. Even if you're just doing something as simple as watching a good old YouTube video, once again, on the OLED, it just looks better. So you remember the spec that most of you should get is the one with the Intel Core Ultra 7. 16 gigs of RAM is more than enough for like most people, unless you are truly like editing like 4K video files like all the time for a living. I myself can edit like all the social clips, the stuff that I post like on Instagram, on social media, you can get by with this machine. Even if you're doing like mild gaming, even some lightweight 3D modeling that I was doing, say for example, my house, I had the blueprints on there, which I designed myself. I was able to interact interact with this. Really nice to use, super fluid with a touchscreen. This is actually 33% faster for your daily workloads and around 21% faster for creative apps compared to the older XPS 14 before it. And obviously AI has become such a big part of our daily lives, whatever you happen to use it for. Like personally, I use it to generate captions a lot, some basic masking in some of the creative apps that I use. And with the NPU, you get close to a 2.5 times boost in AI performance. And I'm curious what you would use AI for in your regular workflow. I know sometimes creator specific, but even if the extent of it is still generating images, you can always say you are a better artist because of it. So next, and probably the most important thing, you're driving this laptop to do your daily life, obviously, is the battery life. So even with all that performance, you can still definitely get all day battery life on this. Personally, when I've been using it, no matter what I did, I could still last till the end of the day without charging it. Obviously, that depends on what spec you get, mostly around the display. But once again, it just gives you that peace of mind that you don't need to constantly worry about your machine running out of juice, constantly having to charge it. Once again, I think that ties into that Dell dependability. You just know when you turn this laptop on, it will just work and work well. But overall, just a really solid laptop, one to keep your eye on over the holidays. And like I said, if you give this as a gift to a loved one, a friend, you might want to grab one for yourself. It's definitely a gift to keep the season. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.